Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Catching Cars. We are currently in a 2026 Mazda CX-80. I've been driving this for the past couple of weeks now, and I want to give you guys my impressions of it. Let's go ahead and deactivate that there first. Being in the EU, of course, you have all this stupid, annoying assistance technology, and it is a real pain to deactivate all the assistance technology here. I really didn't want to start off this review on a negative note, but my gosh, is it complicated to deactivate all this stupid stuff. And some of the things you can't deactivate while driving for whatever reason. It's just very, very annoying, and this technology is just not perfect yet. It's not perfected. It's not to the point where I don't get bothered and annoyed by it all the time. So there's a button here to deactivate some of the stuff, or at least I guess this is like a mute button. But I'm still getting noise from some of the other things. I'm still having the lane assist yank me in and out of the lane, you know, just because it thinks, I don't know, it's very unfortunate. And I hope that at some point we can work with the governments and tell them, hey, or that they realize, you know, this stuff is more annoying and distracting than it is beneficial for our safety. But I want to jump in with fuel economy. I don't know if you can see it there, but we have 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers on the gauge there. And I believe it. This is a diesel vehicle, the 3.3 liter turbo diesel engine. And I've said in multiple videos before, I think that diesel engines go very, very nicely with SUVs. You know, a diesel engine is really not, it doesn't have sporty characteristics, but so doesn't an SUV, right? An SUV is not really a sporty vehicle. It's not made for that. All right, so 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers is a very good figure for a big, heavy SUV like this CX-80. And speaking of big and heavy, that is one trait that I did find comparing this CX-80 with the CX-60 that I drove recently, or a couple months back actually. This CX-80 feels significantly more heavy than its CX-60 brother, right? Even though they're basically the same vehicle in many ways. That is a beautiful Porsche right there. They're very similar in many ways. This one is just a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier, right? And it feels that. You can definitely feel it being heavier. You do have a little more room in the rear there as well. And if you take a look at the CX-80, you'll see that the rear doors are very large for some reason. It almost looks like a long wheelbase, you know, 7 Series or S-Class that you might have found back in the day. So yeah, this one does feel significantly heavier, and that does translate to it not being quite as sporty feeling as the CX-60. If it was my pick, I'd probably take the CX-60 over the CX-80, just because you have that extra, you know, percentage of sportiness or sporty characteristic. But if you do need 7 seats, or in our case 6 seats, you would have to go with the CX-80. But overall, everything here feels very high quality. The sound system is great. The interior, this Alcantara, the beige leather, I love the interior. I also really love the rotary dial. I know that Mazda got rid of this for the CX-5. I haven't driven that one yet. I hope to get the new CX-5 in the near future, but come on, Mazda, what are you doing? This is what we loved about Mazda, right? I absolutely love this. Perfect. I want to put on my heated seats, I press that button. I want to put on my cooled seats, I press that button. You know, climate controls, all that stuff is right here and very easy to use. This is the perfect amount of screen real estate, and it's not overkill. You can't really customize this screen here in the middle. There are a couple of things you can do. Let me see if I can find it. For some reason the lane assist is still on, which is bugging me. But let me see. You know, when you switch vehicles so many times, it's always kind of complicated to get back to, okay, in the vehicle display is correct. And then I go to instrument cluster. So you can change it to increase text size, right? So it'll have a bigger text size. And you can also always show the e-Activ Sense display, whoever wanted that. But I kept it like this, and I did have the increase in text size, just so it'll be easier for you guys to read it on camera. But yeah, so not too much customizability here for the screen. But overall, a very good layout, and I really like it. And that goes for the entire Mazda CX-60 and CX-80. I really like these SUVs. They are very good. The diesel engine is efficient and powerful enough for everyday driving. This one is limited at 221 kilometers an hour on the Autobahn, but hey, that's more than fast enough, right? And overall, everything here feels very solid and well made. The only thing that I really had to complain about is to deactivate all the assistance technology. It takes just way too many steps and it is super annoying. And I did also have a little whistle from the left mirror or left area there somewhere when I was going fast on the Autobahn, but only on some days, because there were other days where I could go, you know, over 200 kilometers on the Autobahn and not get any whistle noise or wind noise at all. And then there was others where the wind noise started at like 160 kilometers an hour for whatever reason, right? So I don't know. You also have a little drive mode button here, and everything just feels very well made. And I have to applaud Mazda for this vehicle. Like I said, I am very curious to see what they did with the CX-5. I have a bad feeling that I'm not going to like it, but we will see. If it were my pick currently, I'd take the CX-60 and stick with that. So this is going to be a short review for today, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. In the meantime, you guys can subscribe to Catching Cars, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video.